Next thing we want to hop into is, we already talked about it a little bit, is early exits. These are some of the teams we thought might go a little bit longer. I mean, Jame Time is one of them. You just come off the back of an event, so if they would not have won the previous event, we probably are not mentioning that this is a significant early exit. But because they did just win, I guess we kind of have to.
Why we got Faze on here?
We got
NRG on here.
Because I swear you started with like teams that we seen them go early and we shouldn't have or something like that.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Yeah, but like BC Game, man, they made it a little bit, so that's nice. Na'Vi, you'd expect them to maybe make the bracket. They looked decent as well.
Dude, I love watching Na'Vi play, man. They're so explosive. They just have so many good things.
Yep.
I love it.
Foot got hot for a little bit, and then they got not for a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. I think Foot's a good shot there for an early exit. I think they were playing really good. I mean, they smacked Furia down, just completely 2-0'd them, and then they had a close series with G2, lost 2-1, and then just got double bounced right after that. But
dude, I want to see the era of 3D Max, man. Those guys have been together for so long.
A little French squad is nice. It's also fun. Like, Apex is the GOAT of IGLs. I don't care. Kerrigan, you have no chance. Apex is obviously French, and he's doing nothing but bad-mouthing his French brethren, cursing the French. He's French. It's S tier. But I thought that was a really good series. 3D Max looks good. They look like they can consistently be a top 15 team, but I just don't think they're going to be a top 8-ish. They might go on a Parivision run. That'd be nice, but for me, Na'Vi, I just expect a little bit more out of them. And I mean, I don't expect more out of FaZe. We know this. But Na'Vi, it's like this team is one player removed from being a team of the year in 2024. And it's like 2025, they spent the whole year looking for themselves. They brought in Makaze. Makaze doesn't seem to be a problem. He's not an issue. But like, they just can't close. It's like Alexi B does weird stuff. You had that odd moment where you had a weird team kill-esque scenario in the mid, and it was like, what are we doing? And it's like, in Anubis, and I don't know, just weird vibes. They should have won the first game versus Spirit. I mean, you have two players that are not playing. All you have to do is avoid donk and you win. You couldn't manage to do that. And it's just kind of hard to watch Na'Vi start to slip a little bit.
Yeah, I think they kind of get in their heads too. We've talked about like just teams whenever they get on the back against the ropes and they make a bad play, not being able to recover. I really see that from Na'Vi. I think the Spirit game is a perfect example of that. They knew that like we can win this game, and when they dropped the ball and lost the second map, they just got blown out of the water. And I think that thought about we didn't win map 1 when we should have was just lingering in their mind the whole time. And then when you're thinking about that going into map 2, it just the recipe for disaster, and they just kind of fell off.
Yep.
Yeah. So I guess earliest for me, I mean, honestly, the one that's most upsetting for me probably is Parivision, just because I kind of didn't want it to be like a fluke. And I mean, I guess it's just one event to one event. I mean, sure, we could quick judge and say it's a fluke, but yeah, it really didn't look that good for him, unfortunately. And like Noda was, he had a stellar performance in the Blast Bounty, didn't quite show up here for these matches. And like, you're going against teams that are weaker than what you faced in the Blast Bounty, at least in terms of rankings. And so that was just sad to see because, I mean, I think having the Jame Time and stuff is cool and like a different play style to see that kind of ramp up and go forward. So, I mean, that one's the most shocking to me. I was at least expecting them to go a wee bit farther.
I thought you would pick FaZe. That's crazy.
Oh, dude, FaZe, they shouldn't even have made it.
Auto qualified.
They get their auto qualifies and then they somehow will always weasel their way in somehow.
Are you talking about the team that got second at the freaking last
the team that weaseled their way in, and gave Vitality a free major. So, I mean, what are we supposed to be happy about that?
Well, you like Vitality.
I mean, sure. I mean, as soon as once FaZe beat Na'Vi, at that major, was
Go
like,
ahead, give us the trophy.
Free win, baby.
Yeah.
Free win.
Now, it is crazy to me when I think about the BC game side is like, again, I don't necessarily agree that the major finalists were the best two teams in the world, but BC Game pulled the literal major finalists, like back to back. Like, that's a crazy, I mean, it's crazy that they made it as far as they are, but they literally played the two most, successful orgs at the end of the year. I don't think FaZe looked like that, though. What's weird is I saw a cool tweet about a Brokey buff on Friday. Basically, his HLTV rating is, I think, like 2/10 higher on Friday, and then it immediately falls on Saturday.
Nice.
So, unfortunately.
He goes out Friday, gets a little too hard.
Dude, specifically FaZe on Nuke, they have, I don't know why, they end up playing on Nuke, and they are terrible at it. They are not good. That is not a map. That should be their insta-ban.
You say that, but Kerrigan dropped like 25 and beat Vitality on them.
Yeah, they beat
probably
Vitality.
you're picking it because of that.
Yeah, Nuke was
can
their
do
good
it.
map.
Yeah.
Well, I also think that they started in the first stage for the major. So they had so much momentum kind of rocking into it. And then you take a month off, You come back into this, and they just looked like they lost everything.
That was a script. That last major was scripted.
Another thing I wanted to talk about, just kind of shout out you, was the Noda with Parivision. I think if Noda actually plays like he did at the Blast Bounty, I think they win both the series that they lost to get knocked out against Na'Vi and Astralis. Both of them were 2-1 matches. He was the bottom frag in both matches, and like he was their star rifler for the Blast Bounty. I think if he shows up, they easily win this series.
Not for sure. I mean, I agree, and that's why I don't want to call it a fluke quite yet. We'll wait and see for a couple more tournaments, but. Yeah, I mean, they just got to fire on all cylinders and play the game. I think they'll be a decent team. I still foresee them being, I mean, I put them above, like, Liquid. I put them in that, like, 10, 11 range. Maybe a little bit higher if they can keep up the sprint.
They've been
doing fine, too.
They've been on a pretty good come-up over the past, like, 6 months as well. And, like, even when we did our predictions on the year, like, I originally had them as, like, my 14th team. As, like, I think that they can consistently get there. Just depends on the timing of the events they're at and what they play. Because, like, I mean, the Jame Time, like, you can call it a gimmick all you want, but his save strategy is very effective. It can produce wins. It literally has produced a major. And it's like, it is weird, it is unique, but it's also something that you could kind of plan against. You start to know what they're going to do. They're not as unpredictable. So I am kind of curious to see how it evolves because, you know, when you're doing 4-man saves for 3-4 rounds in a row, it's like you joke that it's predictable, but if you're a professional and, you know, you got your coach over there with the sheet, it's going to be predictable. You're going to know what they do. So you're going to have to innovate that and change that. I don't think it's going to be a fluke. I hope Zwei is not the golden egg laying guy that shows up twice a year. I hope that we actually get to see it for a good little run because, dude, if he plays like he did in the Bounty and he plays like he did the first 2 events with Spirit, like, he could be a top 20 player. If he plays like he did at the end of this event, though, like, he's not going to be on that roster for long.
And the end of his run with Spirit, too.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Talk about a player who's also terrible at Nuke.